To Ashiaman now, because disturbing news coming from Ashiaman this early morning is that soldiers are going from house to house attacking civilians because of the unfortunate death of one of their colleagues a few days ago. We're told that he was lynched.
On the streets, on the streets, on the streets, on the streets. You need a beer, buy a beer.
Then the post one of power say me about 4 o'clock. No my sorry say me call private. And tell me for private name by. Then me bro baba one who me work anything or see soldiers for mupu ni power one uti me jina. Then me jina ho answer you workers come no mu komu jina.
If you do, I'll take your time. If they say they catch you, I don't worship you. Leave them no call.
This early morning is that soldiers are going from house to house attacking civilians because of the unfortunate death of one of their colleagues a few days ago. We're told that he was lynched by some residents of Ashiaman. He had sought leave to go home, and he got to Ashiaman. That's the story, and then he was lynched to death. What caused or what may have infuriated the people to lynch him, we don't know, but we know that we saw pictures of a man who is supposed to be a soldier lying in a pool of blood, dead. This was sometime last week. Well, we're told that soldiers are moving from house to house and beating up individuals. In fact, the member of parliament for the Ashiaman area in Snogbe is on record to have said that a group of military men are going from house to house brutalizing citizens. This is after a captain was killed on Saturday by unknown men, calls it an unofficial curfew, and he has been speaking. We'll try and connect with Ernest Nogbe to find out. We'll also connect with Auntie Stella Senan. She is an eyewitness to the soldiers beating Ashiaman residents a while ago, and I'm told that the soldiers are still there. Adam Bona is a security expert who will join us on the phone line as well. Connect with Stella Senanu. She's an eyewitness joining us now. Good morning, Stella, and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Mr. Hughes.
Stella, what did you see?
So far what I've seen is the military men who number over 50 in the area. I've seen their Air Force chopper all over the place. I've seen their tanks on the ground. I've seen people beating. Somebody's head is practically divided into two. I've seen them make a human being get off a motorbike going to work to swim in a field that gutter because of the rain. They are just being inhumane about this whole thing.
And what exactly is their reason for these citizens being beaten by uniformed men?
So from what I gather, a young man, a military personnel, was killed on Friday dawn into Saturday around 12 in the official town Taifa area. Reasons I can't tell.
And when did they start beating people? What time exactly?
2 a.m. They got here at 2 a.m.
And they were moving from house to house, you say?
House to house, street to street. Adults, kids, everybody is in trouble.
But what would be the criteria for selecting who to beat?
In honesty, they are not doing any criteria selection. Once they meet you, they give you a warning, go back inside. You refuse, you'll be beaten. Some of them are not even receiving the warning at all. And in this area this morning, there was a tractor with people filled in it going to work. It was stopped, everybody was brought down, and the beating just started. You're on a motorbike, they stop the motor, you'll be beaten. So what it means is we are kind of like we are under curfew, kind of.
And you say there are choppers around the Air Force choppers?
There are choppers in the air. I took a short video of one myself.
Right. And so the member of parliament has said that this is more like a curfew. Do you agree?
No. They should find a better way of handling this. It's a whole military. They should have investigators in there because people have got their lives to live. Send your right personnel to come and investigate and find out who did this. You cannot put everybody under such a situation. Some of us have got lectures to attend, some have business to go and do. People are ill, they have to go to the hospital. So this cannot be the solution. They have to look for something else to do.
And if you go onto our Facebook page now, 3FM927, thanks to Stella Senanu, you will see the military chopper. And also, there's the soldiers out there in Ashiaman presently. They're dealing with the issues. Now, the chiefs, I'm sure there are chiefs and elders, there are opinion leaders, there's an assembly that's there. Have they been out there saying anything, or they themselves have been cowered into submission?
This morning we got a communique from one of the assemblymen of Neiman electoral area, who sent a communique via WhatsApp that people should stay home. If you don't have anything to do in town, don't go out. If you are stepping out, make sure you are decently dressed before you step out if you don't want to be a victim. That is the only thing I know of.
So you are stuck in the house, literally?
I am stuck. I have lectures to go to this morning. I'm stuck.
And it doesn't look like this is stopping anytime soon, yeah?
It doesn't look like it because more of them are coming. In the morning, the choppers were in here. Even the tanks, it was just 2 of them that brought them. But now more have been added. And they were stationed at one place before. Now they have taken practically the whole territory, having different stations.
Do you suspect this was sanctioned by the military?
With their chopper in the air, definitely I think so. Because without such a sanction, the chopper wouldn't have moved. Nobody can do this on whims.
Thank you very much for your time, Stella. Grateful. And stay safe. Well, this is the situation we have, guys. William, Helen.
And Johnny, as you mentioned, if you're watching us on Facebook, you see the scenes. We're playing it back as we speak. You can see the chopper and some of the fracas. I'm very flabbergasted, gentlemen. I actually don't know. I'm putting my thoughts together. This is happening today.
And life is lost, as the reports indicate. But if a thing like that happens, very sad indeed. If it's the case, I mean, the military has military police.
Right, that's right.
They can send them.
They actually have defense intelligence or military intelligence.
They can go to the ground. First of all, report to the police, work closely with the police, and investigate this. I don't see how a war situation can break out because a soldier is down. I mean, choppers in the air, tankers on the ground. And if you look at the community, I mean, the development is lacking, and the people are trying to just find some level in the whole system. So the military high command must come out and tell us something. Going forward, we should find a police solution to the
I see.
It's a crime that is supposed to have been committed, and we don't know the details yet. As you said a soldier was reportedly killed in the area on Sunday or thereabout. So I think the police should get in touch with the military police or vice versa and let them get to the ground.
I hear you. The Honorable Ernest Nogbe is the Member of Parliament for Ashiaman. He joins us now on the phone line. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for your time. And, what is happening in your constituency?
Well, good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. Yes, we woke up this morning. I had a call around 3:30 to 4 a.m. were disturbing news from residents that there were armed men in uniform who came invading the whole community and brutalizing innocent people, civilians, and then residents of the community, preventing them from coming out to go about their daily activities. Some of them were prevented from going to work, etc. So I started engaging the police, and also I spoke with I tried calling the CEO and then the CDS, which they were all unable to answer my call, but fortunately I was able to speak with the Deputy Defense Minister, who assured me that the men were going to leave the vicinity. But as we speak now, there's calm in the community. Just about 10 minutes ago, headquarters came around, putting fear and panic into the civilians. And then, but at least that is me. There's calm in the community as we speak now.
When you say there's calm in the community, I just spoke with Stella Senan, who says they have classes to attend, people have businesses to attend to, but there seem to be more like some restrictions or a curfew of a sort. They can't move around because they are scared they might be bitten. So when you say everything is calm, what exactly do you mean?
Yeah, I mean the armed men have since left the area. That's what I just said about 10 minutes ago. A helicopter came hovering around the community, and that has also since left. And so if anybody is indoors now, still in that fear that they might be around, then that person should come out and go about his or her daily activities. Because I speak with you now, the men are not here. I am also a resident in the community. I still live around the Ashiaman community, so I'm just telling them that they should come out and then go about their duties.
Now, is this a normal routine in your constituency? Some have said that Ashiaman is notorious for many things, but killing a soldier or allegedly killing a soldier, is this a normal routine?
For the past 5 years or so, I have not heard anything. Even robbery in Ashiaman community, that is my constituency, has been a thing of the past. And so this is just an isolated case, which happened on Saturday. And so it is not something that we are all happy with, that a young soldier would be killed. And it's not a robbery case because all the belongings of this young soldier were intact. The iPad, the laptops, were all intact. And so we cannot, attribute it to robbery. Whatever it might be, I'm sure the police authorities are making their investigation. But for the military men, for the armed men to invade the community, just to brutalize innocent, people, innocent residents in the community, preventing them from going about their daily duty, is uncalled for, it's unlawful. And that is what I am saying, that no matter the situation, yes, they might be peace because one of their own was killed, but that does not permit them to take the law into their hands, to disturb or to put fear and panic into the residents of the community, and also brutalizing them and preventing them from going about their activities.
As a member of parliament, you are also a member of the assembly, which head will be the district security council boss.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to them to understand if they have heard this and what exactly they're doing about this?
Yeah, I've spoken to the police, the commander, the divisional commander, then the district commander, who are also, making frantic effort for. These are two different services, so they are also making effort to reach the commander-in-chief to call the member to barrack. So as we speak now, as I said, we have all played, the stakeholders have all played some major role for these armed men to leave the scene. And we are waiting to investigate to know exactly who might have sent them, who might have ordered them to come to the scene to torment these innocent people. We are very much aware that it's a reprisal attack on innocent people or in the community just because of the incident that occurred on Saturday. But whoever gives that directive, we need to know and then get to the bottom of that matter.
Do you know if the police is investigating the alleged murder?
Yes, I had a briefing from the police commander who they are really investigating it. But after the time I spoke with the police commander, that was about Sunday afternoon, no arrest was made, and the military came for the body of the deceased. And I think at the point in time, the military itself were not recognizing the personnel, but later I understand they were able to recognize and know his unit. So they are still investigating and to get the perpetrators of this heinous crime. And we don't know if it had been a robbery attack, we would have made some meaningful, or reasoning out of it. But unfortunately, all the belongings of this guy was intact, so we cannot equate it to robbery. So they are still investigating what might have necessitated the killing of the young man.
This is a hard blow, and I'm sure that you would have reached out to the military as well, have you?
Yeah, that's what I said. I tried calling the CBS. He's a good friend, but he was unable to answer the call. I tried calling the CEO of the Shekab, and I know the men who came here this morning were coming from Michel Camp. That is my briefing.
That one being
from Michel Camp. So I tried calling the CEO. He was also unable to answer the call, so I had to place the call. Actually, the deputy defense minister was the first person to have called me, and later I also called him for us to have an amicable solution to the situation.
Your people are scared that the military could return now that they are gone. Do you feel same sentiments?
Well, I don't feel same sentiment because the authorities, the minister and other authorities, the chief executive, all of us, we are making frantic effort to make sure they don't return, so that at least whoever might have committed the crime, I am very sure the military would have known that that person might have not be living around the same vicinity as we speak now. But raiding the innocent people, preventing them from their coming out from their homes is what we are all against. But whoever might have committed the crime, that person should face the law, the full rigors of the law. We don't have problem about it. So we are just praying to the military high command that they don't allow their men back onto the scene to torment the innocent citizens or innocent residents of the Ashiaman official town area. So we are making our frantic effort. All the stakeholders are working hard to make sure they don't return.
Is it your view that these reprisal attacks is coming on the back of the gruesome murder of Major Maxwell Mahama, and that the military wants to send a strong statement so citizens do not take the law into their hands, particularly beat up and kill a commissioned officer of the armed forces, as we're told?
This is a two-edged sword. If you cry for the civilians, the innocent citizens, you need to cry for the military as well. Yes, it could be, because you don't just take the law into your hand by killing an innocent person. But this act is made, whoever that might have been, or whoever may cause that, should just be arrested and dealt with, not the innocent ones. Because if that person was arrested today, I wouldn't have come out to say anything about it, because you have committed a crime, and so you need to face the full results of the law.
Right.
But when it extends to the innocent citizens, innocent civilians, or innocent residents, that is why I may be able to talk against it. So I'm really sure that this is also to send a strong signal that you don't just wake up, attack an officer in uniform, whether police, whether military, immigration, or any officer, prison, or fire service. You can't do that. No matter the situation, an officer in uniform is always an officer in uniform. It's always an officer. If the person is wearing a mufti, and the officer wearing a mufti, yes, you can mistake him to be a civilian. But even that, you don't have to attack any single soul, whether civilian or officer. You need not to attack or kill because of anything. You just have to report the case to any authority that matters or that may deal with it. And so I'm sure it is also, as you said, to send a strong signal to the people, residents, not only in Ashiaman, but the whole country, that you don't just get up attacking men in uniform.
Are we to see Honorable Ernest Nogbe put out a statement on this in Parliament, particularly to send a strong signal that we cannot be taking the law into our hands on both sides, and that
highly possible. Highly possible. On both sides, we need not to take the law into our own hands. We have laws, we have institutions, and we have authorities that will deal with any situation in this country. And so both sides, military, civilians, or maybe security agencies, civilians, we need to exercise some sort of restraint when matters of this nature arise.
And it's lovely. I'm grateful for your time. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us.
My brother.
Great. It's quite worrying and disturbing. And you see, again, we would want to find whoever murdered or is alleged to have murdered this soldier and put him before the law. Can we also find the individuals who wore those military clothing or perhaps gave the order for the soldiers to come out to brutalize the people? Yeah. Can we also deal with the individual? That's the question we're asking. Dr. Adam Bona is the Chief Servant at Security Warehouse, is joining us now on the phone line. Doc, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you very much, Johnny. And morning to your listeners, Johnny.
Doc, your initial thoughts about what's happening presently in Ashiaman. The soldiers are said to be on a reprisal attack following the demise or alleged demise of one of their colleagues, and people are being brutalized from house to house. What do you say?
Well, I would say quite worrying. In the 21st century, and, especially coming just a day after the celebration of our independence, one would have thought that this shouldn't have happened. And 66 years on, I think we've come a long way. And so, if you don't exact your pound of flesh because someone has done something to you, you don't go back there and do it in a manner they have gone there this morning to do. We are a rule of law country. My expectation would have been that even if they had something of the sort to do, they would have actually collaborated with the police to do it. But the manner in which they undertook the operation leaves a lot to be desired, because if you ask me, why would they, in this modern era, where there are telephones everywhere, there are cameras everywhere, but let's even assume that these gadgets don't exist for anyone to record.
Right.
Should they have gone there? No. But the fact that these cameras now, everybody, maybe 9 out of 10 telephones that people hold have very good cameras and can record. And they still went there to do it, tells you that it looks like we have not accepted, rule of law the way we should have accepted it. But that notwithstanding, I'm not sure why anyone would have killed a young man because of the soldier because of his laptop and a telephone. It's very barbaric. It shouldn't happen, especially when he was in uniform. Even if he wasn't in uniform, it shouldn't happen. But to the extent that he was in uniform, speaks volume again. So this would be my initial thoughts. Condolences to the family, but I think the military should withdraw as soon as possible from the place.
The military are there in full armor. They have their uniforms and arms, and there's also a military chopper. Worrying?
Yeah, very worrying. I mean, I'm not sure how to describe it. But I grew up in Tema in the 70s, and what some of us saw in the dark days, where the military could run amok and beat everybody. I grew up in Community 2, and I will tell you, I didn't live too far away from the Tema White House that was those days inhabited by the military. And the coups literally just happened in Tema, and so I will tell you that anyone who knows what growing up we went through will tell you that these things should have been a thing of the past. We cannot put an area under siege. Yes, it's worrying. A colleague of theirs is dead. But it shouldn't happen that way. I mean, I was in London when, just around Greenwich. I mean, I was resident there when a military officer walked around the Greenwich town center, and some, jihadists actually murdered him in cold blood. During the day, I think it was just around 11 a.m. or so. They killed him, knifed him, they killed him in broad daylight. The police came in, arrested the guy, end of story. Put the guys who did that behind bars, prosecuted them. And that was the end of the story. The military, and if anyone who knows what I'm talking, who knows where Greenwich is, there are some military bases just around Greenwich in London. And you didn't have the soldiers running amok and beating people around. You didn't have them descend, around the town center, the Greenwich town center area, and beating and sending choppers and doing all that because one of their colleagues has been murdered in cold blood. And so I think that we can learn. We can desist from doing these things and know that our democracy has come to stay. The difference between us and them over there is that we still have not really accepted this type of democracy. So, Johnny, I would say that they should have left this in the hands of the police. And I'm told, Johnny, I can tell that this looks like a domestic dispute that went wrong. This actually looks like, and there are one or two persons who have been arrested since the incident happened. And they have been following on some leads to arrest those who have tried. But the police have arrested one or two persons. After that, I know. So I think that they should have been a bit patient. But there again, why would anybody attack, men and women in uniform after this incident that took place? Major Mahama incident. There have been several other incidents where you see a fire service officer, a prisons officer, nurse. When they are wearing their uniform, they are 1 and 2 according to the law. Once you touch them, you are touching them physically, but you're also touching the state. That is how serious this is. But then attacking a whole community because of this, for me, I think is worrying.
Doc, would you attribute the brazen nature in which the military went out there into Ashiaman to brutalize the people to how we have literally militarized everything? At the first instance, a call, even from districts, we saw a Jura, we've seen many other cases where the military is called in as soon as possible without exhausting all the internal processes that the police have. Police have FPU, SWAT, name them. We don't fall on them. We immediately fall on the police. So the military, and so the military see themselves as being now more with the people as opposed to being restricted to the barracks. Would you blame this on that?
Oh, yes. I mean, I would blame it. Johnny, between myself and you, we've had these conversations. We've been having it for a long time.
Right.
And I have kept that view that it is actually enshrined in law, that the military is literally for external aggression. The law defines what the military's duty is. The military is only called in if those in charge of internal security are overwhelmed. When you call them in, even with that, they are not supposed to move in without those in charge of internal security. So to the extent that sometimes you have civilians, we have contributed to this. You have civilians sometimes comparing, if this one cannot, the military will not allow this to happen. Or if it was the military, they will do this, they will do that. And the slightest provocation, we draw in the military. We almost got to a point where every Tom, Dick, and Harry wanted military protection, to the extent that musicians, some people who are into, the entertainment industry, want to be moving around with military officers. And I say that military officers are not trained for bodyguard duties. They are not trained to do some of the things we expect them to do. Military officers are not trained and given, blunt bullets. You train them, you give them live ammo. So he shoots you, he kills you, like we saw in Nigeria, Ashiaman, and other places. And so, yes, it looks like when people want to believe that when you see the military, yes, but you know what? This particular generation has no fear for the military. Maybe my generation has a lot of fear for the military.
Why do you say that?
You know what? Growing up, because of the coups and what some of us saw, you were afraid when you saw a military officer and you would not want to dare. But you see, over the period, incidents have indicated that, you know what, now if a military officer should dare, the young people would overwhelm you. They would attack you. You remember an incident happened recently somewhere in Accra.
The gold mines as well?
Yes. And just in Accra here, where the young Zongo boys actually accosted military officers from the Jubilee House and took them with their bare hands to the police. I don't remember the location, but in Accra, yes. You remember what you call it, the one in Dom Fiase or whatever.
Right, Fiase, yeah.
Accra here again. Military officers had gone there to protect somebody's land. They were beaten to pulp. And so mine is that some of us are saying that the last bastion when it comes to our security is the military. So if we keep pushing the military into the front line when they are not supposed to be at the front line, we keep pushing them, the people lose their fear for the military. So the day something goes wrong, and the police, fire service, prisons, immigration, and the rest are overwhelmed, and you call the military, they are likely to be overwhelmed as well. And so mine is that this generation don't have fear for the military. And so I would have wished that. And I have advocated over the years that let's not see military officers at all in town walking around. Let's not see them in town, riding in scooters, riding in taxis and running around and doing some of the things they do because then they are supposed to be used for specific purposes. But unfortunately, that hasn't been. We use them for elections. And remember, election 2024 is around the corner. Some of us have started advocating again, let's keep the military in the barracks. Or else we are going to have what happened in 2020. We are going to have worse happening in 2024. So for me, what you are seeing in, in the Ashiaman, we are told, in the Ashiaman area, it's the Cypher Ashiaman area. It's something that we've seen many times, but I thought that this time around, it wouldn't happen. But unfortunately, it has happened, and it happened in Wa, where a military officer's phone was stolen. They descended in the Wa township. We saw what happened, even though the officers seem to have been punished. But these things, for me, don't augur well for our democracy.
Doc, will you say that the military has allowed itself to the point where its integrity and also the respect that is supposed to be had for them is being reduced?
I think so, because then, you know what, for me, I would have wished that these would have been left in the hands of the police. They should have absolutely, because I am aware the police was already dealing with it, they should have left it in the hands of the police. But you see, it's difficult. Do you say that maybe, how was the information communicated to the rank and file of the military? Did they know? I mean, obviously, if you've seen the images that are out there on social media this dawn, it's obviously military vehicles are out there with military officers. So there's no way you can say this is an unsanctioned operation. This obviously is a sanctioned operation. It doesn't matter even if the suspects who are involved in this are arrested in this operation. I still think that it should have been left, solely in the hands of the police to deal with. That way, the respect people have for the military would have been, would have increased. We would have revered the military, and because they allowed the police to do their work. Because this morning when I got the information, I quickly had to call around to find out, and it looks like some of the people who are even in charge of the military didn't know what was going on. And I think that somehow, killing this young man is needless because of a laptop and a phone. But it also points to where it looks like we don't believe sometimes in our justice delivery system. Look at the case of Major Mama. I wouldn't want to discuss it, but the case is still in court. If you look at this JB Dankwa who was killed, the case is still in court.
Right.
There are several of these incidents. So I think that the justice delivery, system in this country would have to undergo a certain overview, because the more these cases stay longer in court, the more people begin to say that, this, if we take it to court, this is what is going to stay in court for the next 15 years. So let's have our own court in the middle of the street, and is that our pan of flesh? And that is not how a democracy should look like. I think that the Chief Justice, if he's listening to me, these are some of the things. I know he has few months to go, but these are some of the things I think. I don't know whether he has a policy in place to ensure that the incoming Chief Justice would implement, a way to ensure that some of these cases will travel quickly instead of allowing them to linger. I mean, you have too many of them. Major Mama case up to today is still in court. Well, I wouldn't want to comment apart from saying that because it's in court. But I think that sometimes it makes people begin to feel that, we need to do what we have to do, because if it ends up in court, you might not get the justice you need. But killing the young man, for me, I think that it also speaks to how low we have descended as a country, because he was in uniform.
Right.
And that did not probably put fear into those who attacked him, and they killed him in that manner. For me, we need to look at both sides and say it's wrong, but you will say you use one wrong to cure another wrong. I think that, not that I think, the military's presence this morning in Ashiaman is uncalled for. If they are still there, they would have to withdraw, because this is not the democracy we all envisaged when we went and voted in 1992. This is not the democracy we envisaged. The president spoke eloquently yesterday at the parade in Ho, and so then the next day, it looks like we have this carnage that is, staring at us in Ashiaman. I don't think it is.
I see. Dr. Dambona, thank you very much indeed. Is there
on the streets, you need